I used to work at this little cafe nestled inside an old hotel. You know the kind: faded wallpaper, creaky floors, that lingering smell of dust and something else. Something older. This was before the pandemic hit, back when the world still felt a little more predictable. I never got bad vibes from the place. No chills, no ominous gut feelings. I wasn't one of those people who sensed anything. I don't even believe in ghosts, really. But what happened that afternoon still messes with my head. It was a slow day, quiet, the kind of silence that presses on your ears. So I stepped into the back to chat with the kitchen crew. I leaned casually against the doorway, half in the hallway, half in the kitchen. I wasn't planning on staying long, just keeping an eye on the front of house while talking. And then, out of nowhere, I noticed movement. Just a flicker. The kind of thing your eyes catch before your brain does. A man, a gentleman, walking past me down the hall. I turned just briefly, saw him clearly. Mid-50s, maybe early 60s, dressed in a gray jacket, slacks. Confident stride. I thought, weird. Didn't hear the front door. But my focus snapped back to the kitchen for a second, and then immediately back to the hallway. Gone. Just gone. The hallway was empty. No sounds, no doors shutting, no trace. I stared, confused. You know when your brain knows something's off but hasn't caught up yet? That was me. I should have seen him heading to the hotel lobby, or at the very least, one of the bathroom doors slowly easing shut. Those hydraulic hinges take their sweet time. But nothing. So I walked the hall, checked the bathrooms, opened both doors. Empty. Checked the lobby. Nothing. There's just no way he could have slipped out, not without sprinting past me or barreling out the front entrance like a man possessed. And that's the thing, nobody does that, especially not casually dressed middle-aged men in old hotels. But here's what haunts me. I remember him like it was a real memory, like a snapshot burned into my mind. Not like I saw him, more like he was already there in my thoughts, like his presence was imprinted, deep, vivid. His clothes, his gait, even the way he held his shoulders. And yet, he was never really there, just a ghost of something or someone that wanted to be seen. And after 3 years in that space, I've never experienced anything even remotely like it. But that day, something wanted me to. I used to work the night shift at a children's psychiatric hospital in Michigan. Already sounds like the start of a horror movie, right? Well, it was. I worked third shift, and the layout meant I was completely alone at the far end of a long, quiet hallway. My desk faced the corridor, but I had a clear view of the nurses' station further down. That night, the unit was mostly empty. Almost no kids, just a handful of patients, all behind closed doors. As policy. Unless they had a sitter, those doors stayed shut, locked tight. I had just finished rounding. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. I sat down at my desk, trying not to think too much. And then, the phone rang. The patient phone. Now this phone only receives calls if they're transferred from the nurse's desk. It's not like a regular line. Calls have to be screened first. It was 3 a.m. No one was transferring anything, not at that hour. I answered. Silence. Just nothing. Not even static. I stood up and walked over to the nurse's station. It was empty. No one at the desk. That's when the nurse came walking out of the back hallway. She said she'd been cleaning the supply closet. Killed it, apparently. Said it was a disaster before, but now it looked perfect. I followed her back, half out of curiosity, half to make sure I wasn't imagining things. And yeah, the closet, it was pristine. I told myself it was a fluke, maybe a line glitch or something. Went back to my desk. A few minutes passed. The phone rang again. I answered. Silence. But this time, there was something else. A sound, barely there, like a soft humming. A lullaby, maybe? That's when I started to feel it. The dread. And then, Loud, piercing sobs broke out from down the hall. A child was crying, wailing. I didn't hesitate. I ran to the room. The light inside the room was on. But when I opened the door, the room was empty. One of the patient rooms that had been completely unoccupied. All night. I quit that job the next morning, didn't pack my locker, didn't finish my shift. I was out. And since leaving, I've heard stories. A lot of them. Let's just say that hospital has a reputation, and I believe every single one.